Imagine this: a figure known globally for her poise, her ability to navigate complex conversations with grace, a talk show host whose name is synonymous with composure, Opray Winfrey, based in the United States. Now, picture her on camera, visibly shaken, tears streaming down her face. What could possibly provoke such a raw, unscripted emotional response from someone who has interviewed presidents and icons? It wasn't a personal tragedy, but a message. A message sent across continents, from a leader in a nation grappling with immense challenges. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Have you ever witnessed a moment in global politics that completely defied your expectations, where the human element cut through all the usual political noise? What kind of communication could possibly bridge the vast geographical and political distance between a studio in the United States and the harsh, daily realities faced by a nation like Burkina Faso? This wasn't a formal diplomatic address, not a carefully crafted political speech delivered to the world stage. No, this was something far more personal, a direct, emotional message from President Ibrahim Traoré that caused Opray Winfrey to break down on camera, leaving audiences stunned and asking questions. What secrets did this message hold? Why did President Traoré choose this incredibly unconventional route to communicate? And what does this powerful, unexpected moment reveal about the changing dynamics of political communication in our interconnected world, and the desperate fight for a nation's narrative on the global stage? Stay tuned as we uncover the full story behind this viral moment that transcended politics and touched the human heart. But before we dive deep, if this unexpected event has already piqued your curiosity, hit that like button right now, and make sure you're subscribed to Magnificent Story for more crucial insights into global political trends. To truly understand the weight behind President Ibrahim Traoré's message and Opray Winfrey's reaction, we must first journey to Burkina Faso, a nation situated in the heart of the Sahel region of West Africa. This is a country of immense potential, rich in culture and resources, but one that has been grappling with a severe and escalating crisis. For years, Burkina Faso has been on the front lines of a brutal insurgency, facing relentless attacks from extremist groups that have destabilized vast swathes of the territory. This conflict has had devastating consequences, leading to the displacement of millions of people from their homes, creating a profound humanitarian crisis, and exacerbating existing challenges like widespread poverty and limited access to essential services. It was against this backdrop of insecurity and public frustration with the previous government's handling of the crisis that President Ibrahim Traoré rose to leadership. Representing a younger generation of military officers, his ascent was fueled by a strong nationalist sentiment and a clear, unwavering vision for Burkina Faso. His core agenda centers on prioritizing the fight against terrorism with renewed vigor, but equally crucial is his determination to reclaim full control over Burkina Faso's rich natural resources, particularly its valuable gold mines, which many Burkinabe feel have been exploited by external interests for too long. President Traoré's leadership operates within an incredibly difficult and high-pressure context. He is simultaneously directing military operations against a persistent and adaptable enemy, navigating complex economic pressures both domestically and globally, and actively challenging traditional foreign relationships that his government views as no longer serving Burkina Faso's best interests. This involves seeking new partnerships and asserting a more independent foreign policy, a stance that has generated both support at home and scrutiny on the international stage. The stakes in Burkina Faso could not be higher. It is a fight for the very future of the nation, for the safety and well-being of millions of lives, and for the fundamental right of the Burkinabe people to determine their own destiny and control their own wealth. This is the intense reality from which President Traoré's message emerged. President Ibrahim Traoré understood a critical challenge facing Burkina Faso beyond the immediate security and economic crises: the battle for the narrative. He was acutely aware that his nation's story and his leadership were often framed and disseminated by external media and international observers, frequently focusing on headlines of conflict, political transitions, and regional instability. This portrayal, while containing elements of truth, often failed to capture the full, complex reality on the ground: the daily courage of ordinary citizens, the deep-seated aspirations for a better future, and the unwavering resilience of the Burkinabe people in the face of immense hardship. He recognized that traditional diplomatic channels and formal state-controlled media, while necessary, often felt impersonal and struggled to convey the raw, human truth of the situation in Burkina Faso. These platforms were often filtered through political agendas or journalistic frameworks that prioritized certain angles over the lived experiences of the population. President Traoré felt a growing urgency to bypass these conventional filters and communicate directly, authentically, about the struggles, the sacrifices, and the enduring spirit of his people. His motivation was to ensure that the world saw not just a nation in crisis, but a people fighting for their dignity and future on their own terms. This desire to control and humanize Burkina Faso's narrative became a driving force. The decision to send a personal message to Opray Winfrey in the United States was, by any measure, an unconventional move for a head of state. In the world of international relations, where carefully calibrated diplomacy and formal protocols typically reign supreme, it was a bold and perhaps even audacious step. President Ibrahim Traoré, however, was not one to shy away from challenging established norms if he believed it served the interests of Burkina Faso. Opray Winfrey's platform was seen as uniquely positioned to amplify Burkina Faso's story in a way that traditional channels could not. Her talk show, based in the United States, had a vast global reach, connecting with audiences across continents and cultures. More importantly, Opray was renowned for her focus on human stories, her capacity for empathy, and her ability to connect with individuals on a deeply personal level. President Traoré's team believed that her platform offered a rare opportunity to bypass political filters and reach the hearts and minds of people around the world. The process of sending the message from Burkina Faso to Opray Winfrey's team in the United States was handled with utmost discretion and security. Given the sensitive nature of the communication and the potential for misinterpretation, it was crucial to ensure that the message reached its intended recipient without being intercepted or distorted. The details of the transmission remain largely undisclosed, but it is understood that trusted intermediaries and secure digital channels were utilized to deliver the message and accompanying note to Opray's production team. The setting of President Ibrahim Traoré's message was deliberately simple, perhaps reflecting the stark realities faced by many in Burkina Faso. It wasn't filmed in a grand presidential palace or a formal studio, but likely in a modest office or even outdoors, with a backdrop that hinted at the everyday life of the Burkinabe people. This visual choice underscored the authenticity of the message and reinforced the idea that this was not a carefully staged political performance. The content of the message itself was deeply personal and emotionally resonant. President Traoré spoke softly, his voice conveying the palpable weight of leadership in a nation facing immense challenges. He didn't recite statistics or offer political justifications. Instead, he focused on the human cost of the ongoing crisis. He spoke of the children in Burkina Faso displaced by violence, their education disrupted, their innocence stolen by the horrors of conflict. He spoke of the mothers struggling to provide for their families in the face of poverty and insecurity, their resilience a testament to the strength of the human spirit. He spoke of the courageous youth, both soldiers and civilians, who were risking their lives to defend their communities and build a better future for their country. President Traoré also shared the emotional burden of leadership, offering a rare glimpse into the personal sacrifices and difficult decisions that weighed heavily on him. He spoke of the sleepless nights spent grappling with complex challenges, the pain of loss experienced by so many in Burkina Faso, and the unwavering belief in the potential of his people despite the overwhelming odds. He highlighted the resilience, dignity, and hope that persisted among the Burkinabe people, even in the face of immense adversity. He described the simple acts of kindness and solidarity that he witnessed daily, communities coming together to support one another, individuals sharing scarce resources, and the quiet determination to rebuild and move forward. The message concluded with a heartfelt plea for the world to see the people of Burkina Faso, to recognize their shared humanity, and to understand their fight for a better future on their own terms. It was not a request for financial aid or military assistance, but a call for empathy, understanding, and respect. Above all, it was a personal, emotional appeal, designed to cut through the political noise and connect with audiences on a human level. Upon receiving the message from President Ibrahim Traoré in the United States, Opray Winfrey, known for her discerning judgment and deep empathy, chose to view it privately before deciding whether to share it with her audience. She sat alone in a quiet screening room, far removed from the bustling energy of her studio, as the video from Burkina Faso began to play. As President Traoré spoke not of politics or power, but of the raw human reality of his nation, something profound shifted. The carefully honed composure that Opray maintained throughout countless interviews began to crack. The message's simple authenticity, its focus on the suffering and resilience of the Burkinabe people, and President Traoré's own visible burden cut through the professional distance. Opray's reaction was immediate and visceral. Tears began to stream down her face, an unscripted display of profound emotion. As the message concluded, she was visibly shaken, struggling to compose herself and find her voice. This was not a performance. It was a genuine, deeply felt response to the raw human truth presented in the message from Burkina Faso, a powerful reminder that behind the headlines are real people enduring unimaginable hardship and demonstrating extraordinary courage. When the segment featuring Opray Winfrey's reaction to President Ibrahim Traoré's message aired from the United States, the impact was immediate and far-reaching. The raw, unscripted emotion of a globally recognized figure like Opray, visibly moved to tears by a message from the leader of Burkina Faso, quickly went viral across social media platforms and traditional news outlets. It was a moment that transcended the usual political commentary, capturing attention precisely because of its unexpectedness and profound human element. This viral moment compelled media outlets and international observers, who often focus solely on the political, security, and economic angles related to Burkina Faso and the Sahel region, to pause and look deeper. The image of Opray Winfrey's tears served as a powerful, undeniable validation of the message's authenticity and emotional weight. It forced a moment of collective reflection, shifting the discourse, however briefly, away from abstract geopolitical analysis and towards the tangible human cost of the conflict and challenges in Burkina Faso. Discussions began to highlight the suffering of displaced families, the resilience of communities, and the universal desire for dignity and self-determination that President Traoré had articulated. This event became a significant political trend in itself. It demonstrated the potent power of unconventional communication to bypass traditional diplomatic and media gatekeepers. President Traoré, by choosing to send a personal, emotional message through a figure known for human connection like Opray Winfrey in the United States, successfully brought the human reality of Burkina Faso directly to a global audience in a way that formal channels rarely achieve. It underscored a growing desire among leaders from the global south to control their own narratives and present their nation's realities in a way that resonates beyond political analysis, demanding that the human equation be brought to the forefront of international discourse. What do you think about President Traoré's unconventional approach to communication? Do you believe such personal appeals can genuinely influence global perceptions and political trends? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. And if you're finding this analysis of global political trends valuable and thought-provoking, please give us a share to help spread the word and bring more attention to these crucial stories. The moment Opray Winfrey in the United States was moved to tears by President Ibrahim Traoré's message from Burkina Faso carries significant symbolism, particularly for leaders in the global south. It represents a powerful example of bypassing traditional, often Western-centric, media and diplomatic channels to directly appeal to a global audience. For nations like Burkina Faso, which feel their stories are often misrepresented or ignored, this unconventional approach offers a potential pathway to reclaim their narratives and present their realities on their own terms. This event also highlights the potential, however fleeting, for human connection and empathy to play a role in international relations, even amidst complex political landscapes dominated by power dynamics and strategic interests. President Traoré's willingness to show vulnerability and focus on the human cost of his nation's struggle resonated deeply, proving that authentic emotion can cut through political barriers. Could this signal a shift in how leaders, particularly those from nations facing significant challenges, might attempt to reach global audiences in the future? By leveraging platforms focused on human connection, they might find new ways to garner understanding and support. This moment aligns with the broader political trends of nations asserting their sovereignty and demanding to be seen and heard, not just as geopolitical entities, but as communities of people with inherent dignity and valid aspirations. In summary, the moment a personal, emotional message traveled from President Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso to Opray Winfrey in the United States, resulting in her unscripted tears on camera, was far more than just a viral clip. It was a powerful, unexpected event that cut through the complexities of global politics. Opray's deeply human reaction served as a potent validation of the raw reality President Traoré sought to convey: the struggles, the resilience, and the undeniable human dignity of the people of Burkina Faso. This moment stands as a significant political trend, highlighting the increasing efforts by leaders from the global south to control their own narratives and bring the human stakes of their nation's challenges to the forefront of international discourse. It underscores the potential power of authentic communication to bypass traditional gatekeepers and connect with a global audience on a fundamental, empathetic level. As nations like Burkina Faso continue their fight for sovereignty and a better future, the struggle for narrative control remains crucial. This event reminds us that behind every political headline is a human story waiting to be heard. Don't miss our future deep dives into global political trends and the human stories that shape them. Make sure you're subscribed to Magnificent Story and have notifications turned on so you don't miss out. Thank you for watching.